Okay. Oh, right, summer stuff. Definitely want to add Boardwalk. I think that's a good map. Get rid of Capture the Flag. Get rid of Control Points. There we are. Much better. I like finishing matches, personally. Oh, and of course, as soon as I start the stream, food is prepared. Good. Great. Oh, well. I'll finish this round and then I'll go grab food. Pier. Okay, so it's not Boardwalk that I want. It's Pier. Okay. There's a lot of people that worked on this map. It's a community map. I never noticed that. Though I guess to be fair, a lot of the content in this game is community stuff. In fact, most of the content is probably community stuff. Especially now. Like, I think for the past, 10 years this has been all community stuff.
Mission begins in 60 seconds.
Ah. Hello, Gesapina. Welcome. Hell yeah, brother.
Mission begins in 30 seconds.
Stab.
Hell yeah. There's literally no reason for me to...
Mission begins in 10 seconds.
No reason for me to fire that. Team Fort 2, yep. I'm a little bit tired of both Dead by Daylight and Fortnite, so I figured I might as well play one of the other games that I enjoy. You know what they say. Shoot down a choke point with the Huntsman, and you'll kill eventually. This isn't technically a choke, but, you know. Ow! They just butter knifed me, damn. Okay, if you're gonna bring out the spy, I'm going to do the one thing that I should always do.
Stab.
If there is a weapon that allows you to just get rid of one of your counters, why not use it? That was an accident. Once again, you never actually aim to kill with the Huntsman. You just do. Ow. Playing Kingdom Hearts, I've been taking a break from Street Fighter for the sake of my health. Love that game, but also love winning, and I haven't been doing that. That's fair. Sometimes you gotta take a break for the sake of your own sanity. Okay, there we are. Perfect. They're dead now. I have no idea where I wound up, to be honest. I've just gone in a circle. Where the fuck am I? Ah. Damn. Kingdom Hearts on easy because this is the third Birth by Sleep campaign I play, and dear lord, I want it to be over. Real. You don't have to play a game on difficult all the time. I think that a lot of people just, like, go insane trying to do everything the hardest way possible for no reason other than they're stupid. Like, you do know that, like, games are supposed to be fun, right? Like, if you have more fun on easy, then play on easy. Oh, joy. I'm glad that we still have this strategy. I am super duper glad that you can just, like, sit on point as an engineer and spam short circuit so that, you know, every projectile in the game gets deleted. Incredibly smart and good gameplay. There are even, like, certain things you're specifically, like, updated to not be able to spam. Like, you can't use the, one of the miniguns you can't use, revved up on the, like, it doesn't, oh, it's the Dragon's Fury. You can't, like, have that, like, just permanently, like, spooled up on the cart. It doesn't work. But the short circuit works, even though it does decent damage, and, you know, you can spam it as if, like, you know, as if it needed any additional boons. Usually go for normal, and just did proud for once, it's a bit of a challenge, enjoyed it, I just don't want to. That's fair. Doesn't help Birth by Sleep has the difficulty curve of easy to hate the fucking developers. Yeah. Damn. What role am I playing the victim? That didn't hit. Are you kidding me? Yeah, across all of that, okay, that's fine. Then you swing mid-air nowhere near me, and I'm dead. Okay. I know melee hit detection in this game is, like, it makes as much sense as, like, you know, putting ketchup on spaghetti, but, like, what? Origin of the clip is from Elden Ring. It can be applied to many games. Yes, this is true. Oh shit, okay. They're pushing in further and further, and that's a problem. Oh, hey, it's Rule's card. I think that's a picture of a real person, so I'm going to not pull up that screen anymore. Oops. I hit him with that, okay. Also, I just realized how funny it is that I'm complaining about melee hit registration when I'm playing with the fucking Huntsman. The Huntsman, which literally uses melee hit detection for its projectile because it's so stupid. Okay. If you insist. They have a second fucking phase. Yeah. Yeah. God, I forget. There was a game on the PS Vita that I played a bunch that was like an RPG. And I swear to God, that fucking final boss, it genuinely took hours. Like, utterly ridiculous amounts of time. It went through like 5 fucking phases. That is way more than any game has any right to. You don't need that many. There's a completely unnecessary amount of boss phases. Well, that's a shame. I expected a Phase 1 final boss when Kingdom Hearts 2 has 7! That's unneeded! You don't need those! Okay, I'll be right back. It's not even difficult, it's just long. Yeah. Kingdom Hearts villains are like cockroaches. Yeah, that sounds about right from what I've heard. One of my favorite things, which I doubt it'll be replicated with anything else, like anytime soon, is because of the way that Deltarune's like chapters released. Toby Fox didn't know like how difficult he wanted the super bosses to be. So like to this day, the most difficult super boss is from the first chapter. Like, the most difficult boss in general is Jevil from the literal first chapter of the game. Which is kind of funny. Oh, the game hasn't actually started yet, so I'm not concerned. Took like 6 games to put one old man in the dirt. He was a bastard to fight. Well, that's what happens. Damn, I was like so close to killing that dude, but hit scan came first. Ow. Hate the devil's knife attack so much. Why are you I prefer to think that's not even about Kingdom Hearts. That's just like in real life. I was referring to Jevil. Ah. I love Jevil. I love the fact that Jevil is like the one super boss, or like the one character that kind of doesn't have like any relevance to like the main story as it stands. They're just there. What happens if you bring a gun to the Dark World? I was literally making a joke about this with Parla. About how, like, theoretically, a gun in the Dark World would be a person. It was specifically joking about how, Susie got Ralsei a gun, as just like, how? That's not... How did you do that? Realistically, if you brought a gun to the Dark World, it would become a Darkner. So, that's what happens, like, realistically. If pencil becomes swords, what happens to my Colt 1911? Who knows? Also, yeah, some become weapons, like the toothbrush and stuff. and then some become people. I think the honest answer is that Toby Fox did not think about that, because it's irrelevant. It's like how in Chapter 3, I was talking about, it's like, hey, so Rambles says that they're originally from the library, and, you know, like, yeah, you are fake. I knew it. They talk about they're originally from the library, and that's why they turn to stone when they're in the Dark World in Chris's house. But, like, the thing is, like, how does that work in terms of, like, does that mean that the library, Dark World was already open for them to be created, and then, like, moving it, like, afterwards caused that? But, like, that implies that just, like, that Dark World has been open for a very long time, and, like, created by someone who is not in the story anymore, like, Des or Asriel. Which, I mean, part of, my current theory is that we're essentially re-going through, a second version of events that, Asriel and, Des have already been through. And, like, that's what happened to Des, is essentially, because they are the Roaring Knight, most likely, that what they did is they essentially were in, like, Chris's place. So, they were essentially in Chris's... Wait, what? They were essentially in Chris's place and became the Knight by, like, opening Dark Worlds, essentially. And that's why no one knows what happens to them, because they are just, like, you know, they have been corrupted by the Roaring, essentially. Which would be neat. I like that idea. I'm not sure if I fully back it, but at the same time, it's the best explanation I have for the events that currently are going on. Chris had a save before he started. Saves canonically only exist in the Dark World. No, saves do exist outside, too. Like... Which, I guess, just means that Chris can interact with... That's another thing entirely on terms of, like, is this gameplay design or is this part of canon? So, like, that's something I don't know if I'm qualified to say. Chris does have a save beforehand, though, which is true. And, I don't know if it would be funny if the gun stayed a gun or became a person. I think person would be funnier. Toby Fox only added saves in the Light World because people asked for them. Yeah, and with how much of the game now takes place in the Light World, it's kind of necessary, let's be honest. Like, most of Chapter 4 so far of, me watching Parla's playthrough, most of Chapter 4 has been in the Light World. So it would suck if you went through, like, multiple hours in the Light World and then just, like, had to redo everything. Oh yeah, and there's also a very interesting thing that I realized in Chapter 4 as well, which is, like, people, you know, purely for utility. Okay, that makes sense. People, you know, they mention, like, in the plot, that when they were a kid, Chris used to take, Noelle's heart pillows from around the house and pretend to rip them out of their chest. and, like, chase around Noelle with it. Which, the thing is, like, the pixelated heart soul that you see, that was a front stab. Okay. I haven't played 4, but I watched someone else. Shit goes hard. Yes, from what I've seen so far, it is very good. But basically, like, the pixelated heart does not look like a realistic human heart to them. It genuinely just looks like... It essentially looks like the sprite. It looks like a pillow, like a heart pillow, which could either imply that the soul has been in Chris for a long time, and that's why they've always been kind of off, or it implies that they somehow knew about the soul prior, which I think makes a lot more sense, because, like, it makes more sense for them to learn it from someone like Asriel or Des, most likely Des, because, like, they specifically point out, like, Noelle points out and Toriel points out that Chris has been acting strange lately, as opposed to, like, forever. Like, they were strange as a child, but that's because they were a weird child. But Noelle points out, like, she has been friends with Chris since they were kids, and she points out that they've been acting weird lately, which implies that the soul is a recent thing. So, part of me wants to say that they saw, like, that sort of same thing from Des, and that also, like, brings up a good, like, reason for Chris to be working with the Knight, for it to be Des, and for them to, like, know things from them. It's, like, it kind of makes sense where Chris is essentially playing both sides to, like, essentially bring back Des. That would make sense to me, at least, but, you know. People are always, like... well, to be fair, people just think that Chris is just irredeemably evil and nothing more, but that's just because Deltarune fans have no ability to read. They always had certified weird kid behavior, but nothing concerning before. Yeah! I made a Twitter post about this that upset a few people, which was, like... It was just me saying, like, a lot of people think that, like, Chris was, like, always, like, a shitty person and, like, essentially a bully to Noelle instead of their friend. And the thing about it is, like, it's so stupid because it's just like, no, Chris is just a child. Like, they were a kid who took jokes a bit too far occasionally because they were 6. Like... Like, the thing is, Chris has always been weird, and it just so happens, like, we assume the world is weirder than it is because we've mainly been seeing Chris and Susie, and Susie just so happens to match Chris's freak in unprecedented ways. Like, no, like, Chris is not an evil person. They're a weird teenager, and they were an even weirder child. Like, some of y'all need to calm down. It is not that serious. They are not a master manipulator. They are like 17. They're just a little shit. Yeah, exactly. And that's normal, because, you know, when you're a kid, you kinda suck. When you're a teenager, you kinda suck. That's just kinda how the world is. And besides, like, very clearly, like, Noelle doesn't hold any ill will. It's just like, hey, they're a bit of a weirdo and they've done weird things in the past, too. It's just how it is. Like, that's just Chris's energy. Susie and Chris are an iconic duo. Yes. Susie matches Chris's freak in an and I mean like actual freak. Like they're just weirdos. Like without hesitation, without any like prompting, Chris will pick up Susie like a fucking like lawnmower for them to eat an entire pizza. It's like they don't have to communicate that, they just do it. I think a lot of the mischaracterization unfortunately comes down to the fact that Toby Fox deliberately leaves Chris as a silent protagonist, in quotation marks, where they aren't actually silent, you just don't hear their dialogue. They actually talk a lot and apparently bark a lot, but that's not related. Honestly, I'm just gonna go back to frickin' I was enjoying the Huntsman significantly more, I'll be honest. To be fair, if you actually pay attention, you get a pretty good read of their personality. Yeah! They're just kind of like a weird little freak. But they're just like a genuinely, like... They're a jokey, like, a little bit, like, sarcastic little weasel. They are an expertly written character. It just so happens that Deltarune fans not only can't read, but they can't infer things. Everything has to be, oh, that is awesome. I actually love that. Oh, I broke it. I broke the house of mirrors. Ah! Oh shit, hi. Like, purely affectionately, Chris is a little gremlin. That's just how it is. Chris is just like me, for real. Yeah. I don't know what it is with Toby Fox, but in, like, specifically, like, chapters 3 and 4, they have loved making references to Chris just being, like, a dog. I'm not sure why. They have Chris in the frickin' puppy suit. They also like have them howl and like scratch at the door like a dog. Like, okay, thank you, Tobias Fox. What does this mean? What I truly do love about Deltarune is the fact that, frickin', what's it called? That really doesn't work, huh? So, Tobias Fox is a Tumblr dweller at heart. This is true. When Toby Fox is writing Noelle's dialogue, they're, like, literally possessed by the spirits of, like, 1,000 pathetic lesbians. It's incredible. I have never seen writing for a useless lesbian as accurate as Noelle. Toby Fox helped shape Tumblr. This is true. They did make, well, they helped with Homestuck. So yes, they did invent Tumblr. I've been doing absolutely garbage, but I honestly don't care. I'm sorry to tell everyone, but TF2 is not a serious game. This is a party game. This is like this is the Smash Brothers of FPS games. Like, if you take it seriously, that's 100% on you. Chris is autistic and we love them for it. Yes! That is true. Everyone in Deltarune is a little bit autistic, let's be for real. Like, Ralph say definitely. I'm not sure how you... like... Ralph say is most likely an object because they are Darkner. So, like, I'm not sure how an object gets autism, but Lord be damned, they do. Everyone in Deltarune has a little bit of something. Ow. It's not confirmed, but pretty sure Rouse is Chris's old headband. Yes, I agree with the theory that Rouse is Chris's old devil horns / goat horns. Because what they are in actuality is they are devil horns. They specifically go along with Noelle's angel wings. But they wore them to be goat horns. And because Ralsei's, like, most defining feature, is the pink horns, most likely, they are literally faded from the amount that they have been worn. Like, that's my take on it. I think that is 100% the case. I've seen some people say that Ralsei could be the knife that Chris uses, which I don't think is as likely. I think the horns makes a lot more sense, personally. Like, I don't think it's a bad theory or anything, I just think that the horns are the most likely solution. Sometimes the simplest, like, answer is the correct one, and I think that the correct one in this case is, horns. One issue that I have had, apparently, I'm not sure why, is, I keep referring to Noelle's antlers as horns. I keep doing it repeatedly. Characters usually share elements of their original objects, and the knife just does not check out. That is fair. Unless it's a picture of Asriel, that could also be the case, but, like, Chris does point out that there's a lot of differences between Asriel and Ralsei. I also just think it's incredible, like, how good, I'm just curious. It's an angry bird. I keep meaning to press F, but that's not it. Oh, I can't see it. I can't get my disciplinary action back. I mean, that's oh well. I love Deltarune's concept, because in my head it's one shot, but the character you are controlling, Gaiden, fucking hates you. Yeah. I do really like it. I think it's interesting how, the soul, like, works. Because, like, the soul was initially supposed to inhabit the vessel that you created, but something went wrong and it became part of Chris. Which is quite interesting to think about, like, what exactly, like, transpired and how did that happen? And if that's the case, like, has this ever happened before? Because the vessel was supposed to be, like, the first vessel that was specifically created to house a soul, instead of, you know, just housing a soul. Like, oh, whoops, that was my bad. Instead of just housing a soul like like Chris does essentially. Yeah, but right now I kind of feel like when it comes to everything, I think that Death probably got controlled by a soul at some point. I think that's most likely what happened. It's not just because I like the idea of it. I also think it explains a lot of like why they would get lost, why exactly the night would be most likely Death. The night is most likely Death. Because Roaring Night is most likely a play on words of Silent Night. Like, you know, the frickin', the Christmas thing, and, you know, the holidays. It also would kind of explain, like, why Carol knows kind of about, like, everything. Like, why she seems to be, like, a bit of a conspiracy theorist. Because she thinks that something definitely went wrong with Death. My Sailor Moon fell over, and now she will not stand back up. Why? Damn it, her stand came off, too. Oh, the stand is just fucked. Oh, wow, that's just permanently, like, gone. Oh, no, that's, like, bent in multiple directions. How the hell did that happen? That doesn't even make sense. Did I say moon? I meant Mercury. I'm sorry.
Our control point has been captured.
Great. Now she's back where she should be, but I need to put the other thing. Ami, yep. I think that's correct. Oh, wait, that's not it. There we are. That's better. What? I don't know what happened to my brain. I somehow just, like, forgot what team I was on when that demo night was directly in my face. Ow. It annoys me how many people think the "your choices don't matter" statement is actually true. It makes significantly more sense to be a statement we have to prove untrue, like in Undertale. Yeah. I think generally, like, your choices definitely matter, and it just so happens that, you know, most times, like, you and Chris, working through the soul, like, there is definitely a difference in both goals and, like, choices. Like, simultaneously, I think, like, Chris and the Soul are both kind of working for the same overall goal. Just they're going about it in different ways that specifically clash with each other. What kind of narrative would that be? First we're to state one thing in the beginning and then to have it be 100% true no matter what. I mean, some stories do that. In a lot, and with what Toby Fox has said for the ending, with the fact that, according to Toby Fox, there is only one ending to Deltarune. There are not multiple endings. And what actually matters is not the ending, but how you get there. Which makes a lot of sense in, like, the spirit of, you know, like, what you do matters even if the end result is the same. Like, the person you are and how you play is more important than what you end up with. I also really like how, like, with Chris not being on board with the soul completely, because it makes both, like, it makes Chris a character as well as yourself, which is interesting. I do believe there's one ending, but how it happens will be different if you understand. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, things change, but the end result is the same. I'm not sure. I doubt it will happen. But people, like, have started, like, posing the theory of, oh, what if one of the bosses at the end is going to be the soul's original vessel that you made at the start of the game? And while I think that would be cool, I think it would need to be done in a very, like, it would have had to have been done in a very effective way, because you would need to fully, like, have, like, quite a few layers of disbelief at that. But at the same time, it 100% fits with Toby's writing style. I can 100% see it. Have my own theories on what may become the soul that might go into spoiler territory. That's fair. Ow. To my understanding, I haven't seen all of Chapter 4 yet. Yeah, I have not seen all of it yet. I've seen up to Susie and Chris leaving the holiday house. One theory that I want to be 100% canon is, the holidays named Chris. Especially with how, like, Rudy refers to Chris as Christmas, and the fact that all of their names are, like, traditionally, you know, like, Asriel and Toriel's child is a, yeah, it's a long chapter. Asriel and Toriel named... Oh, no, Asgore and Toriel named their child a, Asriel, which is a combination of their two names. And then the holidays name everything, like, winter-themed. And because of that, I think that Chris being, named by the holidays makes a lot of sense. Especially, Rudy does directly call them Christmas, which could just be like a little bit, but I just also think it's cute. Don't attack me. It would also make sense why the families are so close. Yeah. Like, it does. I mean, I think part of the reason is the fact that, like, Asgore used to be on the police force there, and the mayor is Carol. But there's a lot there. There's also just, like, there's a lot of questions about the relationships between Toriel, Asgore, Carol, and Rudy, but that goes more into, like, hey, what's going on here, than anything else. Another thing could be that, like, because Chris is non-binary, they could have chosen that name for themselves, which would imply they feel a bit more at home with the holidays, which also, you know, kind of, it does track a little bit, especially if, like, like, Noelle and Chris used to be close. Like, we know that. It is also kind of implied that, you know, Chris is very inclined to music, like Des is, or was. So there's a good chance that Des and Chris were also close. So, less divorce in the Holiday household. Imagine watching your parents go through a divorce, and, like, you turn on the TV, and then, like, your TV is also having a divorce. Isn't that fucked up? That's what happened to Chris Dreamer. They gave the fucking TV trauma. They did. Their trauma and, like, familial issues were so bad, it was inherited by their fucking TV. Uh-oh.
Our control point is being captured.
But yeah, I 100% headcanon Chris and Des being pretty close back when Des was around. Because of the whole musical connection and, you know, the Holiday name and everything. And it makes sense, like, even if it was just, like, Asriel and Des being friends and then Noelle and Chris being friends, it's like, you're still friends with your friends' older siblings a lot of the time, especially as a kid when you hang out with them. Like, I don't know. I think specifically because, you know, the Holidays have that piano, which seems to be entirely for Chris, given the fact that no one there plays piano, according to Noelle. I don't know. I feel like Chris was almost family to the Holidays. And I don't know. I just feel like it makes sense if Des and Chris were close. And listen, if Des and Chris were close, it would also explain the Roaring Night more. Just saying. I mean, people will argue about what the Roaring Night is forever until it's, like, officially, like, revealed. It's most likely December. Like, it's most likely December. Like, it's not Papyrus. Whoever thinks that is an actual moron. I feel like Carol is entirely a red herring. Like, it seems pretty apparent that it's Des. Or whatever remains of Des. Roaring Night is Nest theory. It's close. Just replace the N with a D. There you go. The fact that Among Us exists in the Deltarune universe through proxy does imply that 9/11 happened in the Deltarune universe. Which means that there's a good chance that the Dreamers watched 9/11 on Tenna. Very possible they were over at the Holiday House a lot. They were dropped off while Asgore and Toriel had their issues. That makes sense. Or Chris just broke in, because apparently they've known how to do that since they were a child, and Noelle was getting locked out mistakenly. As we have previously established, Chris is a rat creature. That could also be a bit of a... If we continue with, like, this train of theorizing thought, Chris knows got the code for, the bunker from Dess's guitar, 1225 most likely. And the implication there is that, you know, Des is, like, guiding either you as the soul or Chris. Or, it's like, you know, it's like, you know, you are essentially getting around a lock because of the holidays. So it's entirely possible that the implication is that, like, Chris knows all the ways in because of Des as well. So, I don't know. You can... That's going more into, like, allegorical territory. So I don't want to say that with, like, authority. But, you know, I think it's an interesting angle to look at it from. But yeah, Chris is a rat creature, or more likely a dog creature. Because they get referenced as dog, like, all the time for some reason. Okay, I think that's gonna be it for today. Thank you for chatting about Deltarune with me. I enjoy Deltarune quite a lot.